Hi, everybody. I am so thrilled to be here at WPPI, and thank you to Nikon for inviting me back on this amazing stage. Thank you to all of you for being here today. I am Kellie Bieser, and I have the most fun job in the whole world because I photograph families and kids. And not this kind of kid. I've not figured out how to make a job of photographing my goats. This is really just an excuse to show off how cute my baby goats are. But no, I'm talking about these kinds of kids. This is my crew. This is Oliver, who's 15 years old, Noah, who's 13, JJ, who's 14, Henry, who's 5, and Annie, who's 10, and Mr. Bieser, who is the world's most patient husband with my goats and children and chickens and all of that nonsense. And when I tell people I've got 5 kids and a farm and I work as a photographer and I photograph kids, I kind of get the same reaction, right? It's like, is it contagious? And you're crazy. But the fact of the matter is that I have a blast doing it. And, photographing my own kids makes sense because I'm mom, right? And I'm biologically wired to know that my kids are the most amazing humans to ever walk the face of the planet. They're perfect to me. So it makes sense to photograph them. But I'm spending my free time, my professional time, photographing other people's kids. And I think sometimes people wonder, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you work with models instead of kids who, when you say, give your brother a hug, he's like, I'm going to squeeze the toots out of him, right? Why do I photograph kids when I know for a fact they are not interested in my artistic vision? If I sat down with one of my kids or with a client's kids and I said, okay, guys, today for the shoot, this is the vision, I lose them immediately, right? And when I make him wear a flamingo and blue goggles, he has no interest in what my vision is. He's just going to give me that face. Kids are unpredictable, right? You turn your back for 1 second and you've lost all the toilet paper in the house. And it's the same thing on a session. Kids come with challenges. And as a professional, I am fully aware that family photography is a luxury, right? People are spending money with me that could go to college funds and could go to a new pair of shoes for mom or just food on the table. And so as a photographer, I'm keenly aware that what they're doing is investing in me as a luxury item. And it's my job to not just convince them to spend that money, but make them know that it's worth it. So why do I throw myself into these kinds of challenges? It's because I have so much fun. I never feel like I'm going to a job or going to work because I'm always having a blast. There is video footage of this particular shoot in my backyard pond of me floating on a Tyrannosaurus Rex, holding all of my gear over my head with my son holding a light off to the side, trying to get this perfect shot of my daughter lounging like queen of, the unicorn backyard. And in that video, there's never any stress. There's never any challenges that you can see. What it is us having a blast. We laugh and we're making memories as a family. And I can't think of a better way to spend my time. And when you see me at a session, this is likely how you're going to find me. Belly down in the grass, getting grass stains all over my new pants. But you can see enough of my face to see that I'm smiling. And that's the look you're going to get the whole time because I'm having so much fun. And the really good news for everyone here is that there's nothing special about me. I don't have some magic spell. I do have tips, though, that make it so that everybody can have fun when photographing kids. Are you guys ready for them? Good. Tip number 1, do your research. Anybody who books me for a session gets a very thorough questionnaire, and they get a friendly social media stalking session from me. And that questionnaire asks basic things, right? Like, give me the names and ages of everybody that's going to be photographed. Tell me where you like to shop for your clothes. It gives me a sense of their style. Tell me, what kind of setting you want to have your photos taken. Are we going to go to a field full of wildflowers, or are we going to go downtown to where we can get some brick and texture? But it also asks interesting questions too, like if you could go anywhere for one weekend with your family, where would you go? Asks very thorough questions. And it also asks, what was the most exciting thing to happen in the past week? Because if a family got a brand new puppy that week, you can bet we're going to bring it to the session, because a puppy makes any photo session like 2,000% more fun, right? And also, this puppy is probably like 150 pounds right now, and how cool is it that we've got the little girl when she could actually hold that dog? And also, social media. You can tell I like animals, guys, right? Almost as much as I like kids. You would be amazed at how many people talk about their pets as if they're part of the family, sometimes as if they're the favorite member of the family, and they don't even think to bring them along to the session. But a quick scan of Facebook for me lets me know that the pet is actually one of the kids too. And when I suggest bringing them along, not only am I creating photos that I love, but photos that they want to invest in, right? I create a fun experience for both me and the families in front of my camera. A simple questionnaire about asking what sports your kids play or what activities they're into. This was an in-home family session, so we'd been inside and outside in the backyard photographing. And when I told the kid that we were done with the fancy photos, he immediately went into gym shorts and a t-shirt, and I knew that he was a soccer player. So when we got that end of the day light coming through, and he just naturally went to go kick the soccer ball, but I knew that this photo was going to be one that his mom loved, because this is what she sees him doing all the time, right? This is who he is. He's a soccer player, and he probably spends every single day kicking that ball over and over. And with that backlight, this is what it feels like for his mom to watch him do that. I'm also not above bribery, so doing some simple research on what are your kids' favorite snacks, do they have any allergies, can take a session from being a challenging session to a really fun session for anyone, and you can get some graham cracker shots. My next tip is be a friend of mom and dad. If any of you have ever taken your family to have your photos taken, I think you can relate to the stress of being mom and dad at a session, right? The kids don't want to wear the shoes you picked out for them. Somebody has a cold. There are a lot of things, and you're spending a ton of money. There are a lot of things that are stressful. So when I arrive at a session, mom and dad get a hug right away, whether they like it or not. We become friends. And it diffuses that stress a little bit, right? And I tell them, like, your kids look amazing. You know what? I don't think the shoes you picked out are necessary at all. Let them wear the ones they want to, and we'll work on that later. I diffuse the stress. I become their friend so that this is no longer a stressful situation for them. And what that does for the kids, when mom and dad are no longer stressed, the kids can exhale and we can start to have some fun, right? I also, I teach my kids about stranger danger. And when I show up to a session with a client, I'm a stranger, right? So when those kids see me interacting with their mom and dad, when I bring up things that happened in the questionnaire, when I say how's soccer practice going? The kids see that I'm somebody that mom and dad know. I'm somebody that mom and dad approve of, and it allows them to not feel so scared of me. I'm no longer a stranger. I'm mom and dad's friend, and they can eventually warm up to me. And little guy was looking at dad the whole time, but once I started having that conversation with dad, once I was friends with dad, he could look at me. Same here. And also, in that process, when you've got a shy kid who's clinging to mom and dad, there's nothing wrong with getting a picture of a little one loving on dad, right? That's a picture that dad's going to buy and hang on his office wall. And that's fun as a photographer to be able to take photos like that. And also, being a friend of mom and dad, chances are mom and dad haven't had a good photo together since their wedding. How nice is it that you can create something for them that they love and cherish as well, and that the kids can stand behind you and have fun taunting mom and dad, saying, kiss, or please don't kiss. It makes it fun. It lets us create memories while we're creating these photos. The next tip is get on their level. This stack of pancakes is not nearly as astounding from my perspective as it is from his. So just being down on his level, just having my camera at his height lets us see the world through his eyes. Being down on the ground lets me be in on the action, right? If I were up high, it would look like I was scolding them for pushing each other through the house and the laundry basket, right? But when I'm on their level, it's almost like I'm in the laundry basket with him, and I think that's a lot more fun. When I'm on her level, it's like I'm having a conversation with her, right? I get to see her face exactly as it is from this perspective. And being down on the ground, being on their level. I mean, like, you guys are really, like, if you aren't already doing it, like, practice your squats, right? We're going to really build up our thighs and glutes in this process. But being down on their level lets you have fun, right? It brings you into the game. It makes you one of the kids or the dog. And it makes it more fun for everybody. Now you're part of the game. You're not going to scold the game. Keep them in their comfort zone. And this has to do with siblings, but it's on the same note as the parents, right? Kids, if you pull a kid alone straight out the gate when you're still a stranger, that's kind of a scary place to be. And when a kid is scared, it's going to be a lot harder to have fun. And when the kid's not having fun, chances are you as a photographer are not having fun. So I always have siblings pose together at first. This keeps them as a team together, right? They're going through this experience together, and there's someone there to be there with them. And every once in a while, you'll catch them having a little conversation, right? It's, if I asked these boys to hug like that, it would be like the first slide I showed you where they were trying to squeeze the toots out of each other. That's not going to work. But you can catch these sweet brotherly moments, and it keeps them comfortable. It keeps them relaxed so that when you do pull them over for those individual portraits, they already know you. We've built this rapport. And, it's all about keeping them relaxed, keeping them having fun, and then they'll end up coming up with their own poses, right? They'll jump on each other's back, and you'll get these shots that are natural. They're not forced because they're with someone that they know, and it's comfortable, and that relationship already exists. Use that to your advantage. And same with comfort items. I can't tell you how many parents I have showing up saying, like, I'm so sorry, he wasn't going to leave the house without his blankie or his pacifier or his lovey. And I am all for having those things available at the session because, again, if he didn't have this lovey here, he would have been in tears. And there's nothing fun about that. So let him have it. Let him feel comfortable, and we'll work around it later. Also, I think it's really sweet to document him with his lovey because I don't think he's going to go to college with that. And this is who he is at this age and stage. And Mom will love this picture when she sees it. And that's really fun. It's really fun to sell our work, guys. Get in touch with your inner child. And this is where the fun really digs in because as much as I like to think that I could rock those sunglasses, right? It would be fun to be able to wear red heart-shaped sunglasses that match your dad's sunglasses. I probably can't get away with it these days, but she can. And by being in touch with the part of me that wants to be able to do that, it lets me be in touch with the part of her that wants to do that. And we start having fun. I mean, etiquette is really overrated. And it's way more fun to eat spaghetti like this than it is to twirl it on your fork and be dainty and dab with a napkin. So instead of trying to correct the kids in front of your camera, right? Instead of trying to make them be more proper, instead of trying to make them be more adult-like, get in touch with who you are as a kid. Have fun with it because that's where they really loosen up. And I think that's where the magic of childhood photography happens, is when they aren't trying to be anything but a kid. I remember when my parents brought home my little sister and I was usurped as the baby of the family. I was so jealous, right? And I wanted to get in the crib and like be the baby again, even though I'd been out of a crib for ages. And so when I was photographing this family as they welcomed a new baby to the house, I had like that flashback. I got in touch with that inner child in me, the inner jealous older sibling in me. And so when I saw little sister climbing up on the crib and trying to get in, I remembered what that felt like. And I knew that was a shot I was going to have to get. And as a photographer, being able to tap into those emotions, being able to see them and remember them and feel them is a really fun thing. And being able to create images that reflect those emotions is really fun. Okay, next tip. Observe and collaborate. So I've talked a lot today about how I'm moving around and I'm talking to mom and dad and I'm talking with the kids. And there's a lot of action happening on my end as a photographer. But there's also a lot of observation, right? And there's a lot of me not calling the shots. There's a lot of letting the kids call the shots. Or at least letting them think that they're calling the shots. So while I'm talking and while I'm moving around and while I'm practicing my squats at a session, I'm also watching. I'm watching dynamics between kids and parents. I'm watching dynamics between siblings. I'm watching the kids on their own and what they like to do so that I can make sure that I'm capturing who those kids really are. So we went apple picking as a family, and I always have a camera with me. I mean, much to everyone's chagrin, but it's worth it. And I noticed my daughter is a rule follower, so she was very diligently picking all the apples, whereas her little brother was not. He was very diligently taking 2 bites out of every apple and then moving on to another apple. And seeing that dynamic happening, like I would never have thought to photograph them before we got to the apple orchard, right? Like this. But seeing that story happening let me set it up so that we could capture that all in one frame, right? And so just scanning the scene and seeing who's doing what in the same situation allows me to capture who they really are. This is my soccer player, again, the kid that was kicking the ball at the end of the day. And, I was taking those pictures of him kicking and practicing. And I talked about it. I was like, so what's your favorite position? And I know nothing about soccer. But he told me, he was like, oh, I'm a goalie. And I was like, well, then why are we taking pictures of you kicking the ball? Why aren't we taking pictures of you being a goalie? And he's like, I'm a really good goalie, and I'm really good at falling. And so I was like, okay, let's capture that. So it was the end of the day. You saw that photo. The sun was low in the sky. So we pulled out studio lights because I bring everything with me. And I had this kid dive. He was having the time of his life. We dove probably 50 times like this in the backyard. And every time he'd run over and he'd look at the back of the camera, he's like, I think I want the ball to be here. And so we'd throw the ball. But letting him collaborate made him part of my team, right? It made him excited about the photographic process so that when I go back next year to photograph his family, he's going to be excited to see me again and collaborate with me again. Having photos with me is fun. And here's a key for you guys. When the kids have fun, the parents are going to want you back, right? Because kids typically don't want to get their photos taken, but when they look forward to having you there because you're the fun photographer, parents will invest in that. I always call my daughter my little fireball. And so when I told her that I wanted to capture that fiery side of her, we collaborated on this shot. She even said, she's like, I should look very serious if I'm a fireball. She's like, and I need fire behind me. And I was like, well, fire behind you might be a little bit dangerous, but let's see what we can do. And together, we created a photo that she and I are both really excited about. And we had a lot of fun together creating it. And she's proud to have that on her wall. How exciting is that? When I was with this family at this session, the mom kept commenting on how beautiful her daughter's eyelashes were. So when we were doing solo portraits, I talked to the little girl. I was like, your mom really likes your eyelashes. Do you think we should take a photo just for your mom? And she said, yeah. She's like, take a photo like this. And so we took a photo like that, right, with our eyes wide open. It looked weird. But I was like, okay, now I want you to close your eyes and let's see the eyelashes like this. And when I showed her this, she was like, I'm going to give that to my mom because I love her. Like, how fun is that? How sweet is that? Because she felt invested in the process. And she was having fun creating photos with me rather than me just taking a photo of her. The next tip, make it a game. Everything's always more fun when you have a game. Can you tell that child photography is very much about psychology just as much as it is about photography? Everything's more fun when you make it a friendly competition. So how long can you balance on the curb until you tip over? Can you jump over the sprinkler? If I just said, okay, I want the sprinkler, I'm going to have a really high shutter speed, and I'm going to have the water flying, and I want you to have your arms up in the air. No, she's not going to do that, but I would say, I don't think you can jump over that sprinkler. She'll do this 100 times, right? I've made it a game. When the boys are doing chores out in the yard and they're watering plants, and I say, do you think you could spray your brother with the hose without him catching you? Now it's a competition. Like, can he get away with it? And he sure can, and it's a lot of fun. So this family, every year, I've been photographing them for 6 years now. Every year, it's, can Dad lift Anna up onto his shoulders? Is he still strong enough to get her up on his shoulders? And this is the first year he couldn't do it anymore. Now she's a teenager. Last year was a struggle. This year he just couldn't do it. But the whole family's invested in this. Like, okay, Dad, like, brace yourself. Can you do it? And he makes this big show of like, like, can I lift her? And it's so much fun. And they look forward to this shot every single year. That's so much fun. It's so much more fun when it's a game. And Big Brother can be part of the game too, right? He can play the same game. This family is a blast. They are all in on the games. So, like, can Big Brother lift the littlest brother up on his shoulders? Is he strong enough? In this family, they did, I love the whole theme of this. The kids all play football for the school, and so they were like, we're going to do a spirit wear family shoot this year, which I think is a blast. And Mom brought props, which is really fun. But we did a game, and I was like, okay, who can do the best football cheer? And I love this because Dad was the only one who actually knew what a megaphone was for, which, like, dates us, right? And the kids were all like, how do these work? And they all have them, like, on their heads and backwards. but it makes it so much more fun. It was just this simple game of who has the best football cheer, who can cheer the loudest. Dad lost. And that transitions into this, right? Even just a simple game of like peekaboo under the megaphone hat. And again, like the family loves this because it was fun and they had a blast doing it. And fun memories reflected in fun photos make for repeat clients and people who want to invest in the products you're selling. This is one of my favorite sessions ever. And to be honest, I'll say that about every session I've ever done, but this is the one that's on the screen right now, so I'm saying it about this one. Mom and Dad have one son, and they invited all the grandparents and great-grandparents to come do a photo session with him. So it was this whole session about all this love directed onto this little boy, which I think is the sweetest thing in the whole wide world. And we also started the session with ice cream, which I think makes it fun straight out the gate. But you have to have the right gear for a session like this, right? Because we're in this little bitty alleyway. We're in a busy, small town, and it was bustling out on the street. So we came into this alley with this sweet family, and I had to get them all in there. So having a wide-angle lens is necessary. There's also video footage of me like crawling under a parked car and be like, "I'm gonna be fine, everybody. Just let me get you all in." We managed to get them all in thanks to the 24 millimeter. Having the right gear, having it be available all the time. My camera at home is always sitting right on the kitchen counter. That way, when I've got a laundry helper, I'm always ready for the shot, right? And a step stool's helpful too, so you can climb up on top of the dryer. On the other end of the spectrum from that 24 millimeter is the 200 f2 that Michael likes to talk about me owning, but that allows me to shoot through the fence when my son is pitching at a baseball game, right? Without seeing the fence and capturing all that action and isolating him in the scene. Also, having gear that operates at high ISOs without compromising the image quality is huge for me as a family photographer, especially documenting my own family and doing a lot of in-home sessions. The best memories don't always happen in the best light, so being able to know that I can crank it up to ISO 6400 and not get any grain, I think we look pretty good here, guys, is helpful because these are memories I don't want to forget. Also having lightweight gear. I'm a huge fan of the new mirrorless cameras that Nikon has. I've got the Z6 and the Z7. And being able to tuck a camera in my purse for a full day at the mini golf course and knowing that it's not going to weigh me down, that I'm still going to be able to beat the kids. But being able to capture memories like this, he thinks this is a hole-in-one when you carry the ball and just drop it in the hole. That's really fun. And I don't have to think twice about it. I'm not going to be tired and weighed down by heavy gear because it just falls right in my purse. And make sure you have the right settings, too. I joke that kids are wiggling and moving even when they're sitting still. So high shutter speeds, guys. When I've got a kid sitting in a portrait setting, it's, with natural light, it's 1/250th of a second. When I've got a kid who's moving, like walking, it's 1/800th of a second. And if I've got a kid who's moving dynamically, like this friend is, I go as high as I can go. 1/8000th if I can keep it there and get the exposure that I want. Let kids feel all the emotions. And I know tears don't seem to go along with fun, but I think that sometimes we forget that kids are humans and that they feel a whole range of emotions, right? And if we force them just to be smiley and happy all the time, we're not honoring the fact that they're humans and they feel things. And so, yeah, maybe tears aren't a ton of fun, but I think my little force of nature is a lot of fun. My friend Dan calls this the hurricane photo because she looks like a hurricane. And he's probably right. But letting her be dirty, letting her be fierce is really exciting and fun to me because that is a very real aspect of her personality. Letting my clients' kids be serious. Not all kids are goofballs like me. Some kids are much more serious. And capturing that honors who they are as human beings. And they'll feel that, right? And matching their energy. If I come at a kid who is tired and not super excited, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Kellie, and we're going to take pictures," that's not going to be fun for them. They're going to tune me out very quickly. But matching their energy and be like, "Okay, let's take some pictures together." Matching their energy and capturing who they are without forcing them to be something different makes it a positive experience for all of us. Letting them be jubilant, letting them brag on themselves a little bit. That's fun, right? Capture all the emotions your kids feel and the kids in front of your camera feel because they do feel all of them, I promise. Okay, final tip. Remember that this is so important. And I will say this for the rest of my life, photographing kids is the most important thing I can do. I have a blast doing it, but I am very aware of the importance of it because, this kid and his grandparents had a day of ice cream, and now he's got photos to remember it, because there's a chance that if he didn't have those photos, those memories would fade as he got older. But he's got the memories now, and he's a beautiful album of those photos, so he can always remember it. I think that's really important. Photographing kids lets you see their character develop. My grandfather had a stroke, and my oldest son went in and read him a story until he fell asleep. Being able to see how good my kid is and have a photo that illustrates that for me is awesome. Okay, that's a beautiful face, isn't it? I'm going to be a little heavy here for a second. I wasn't going to come to WPPI this year because a month ago my kid almost died. We were in the hospital for 4 weeks. And I walked, this is in my hallway, this photo's in my hallway of him, and I walked past it because I'd gone home to change clothes. And I looked at it and I just broke down because I looked at that photo and I thought, what if that was the only way I could look at his face again? And then the next thought, guys, was, what if I didn't even have that? And I'm not telling you that a photograph is a replacement for a human being. That not even close. But tomorrow's not a guarantee, okay? And these pictures are important. Kids change. And again, we're not guaranteed tomorrow, and I will never apologize for having a camera in front of my face to capture the people that are most important to me. And what an honor that I get to capture the people that are most important to the parents that hire me. It's an honor. And there's not always going to be the opportunity for your kid to look at a snowman like it might come to life, like Frosty. That's fleeting. It's not going to be forever that she thinks her dad is the strongest man in the whole world. It's fleeting, but we get to capture it. Dad is not always going to be an acceptable ponytail maker. She knows now that he's not the person to go to when she wants her hair to look good. So I leave you with this. Whatever you photograph, I know we all photograph a lot of different things, whether you're a kid's photographer, whether you photograph models or weddings, whatever you do, even if you're not a photographer, even if you're just here listening to me because you're my mom, hi mom, do whatever you do with so much love. Do it with joy. Make it fun. Because we only get to be here for so long. And you might as well have a blast doing it. If you're going to be spending time away from the people you love to do something, it better be a lot of fun, right? Thank you guys so much for being here with me today. I had a blast, and that's where you can find me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kellie Bieser. So